Coit here. How's it all going? What we've got here today is a video of my little caster Luciforge. He's not a completionist and he's not finished yet. He's doing a Epic Elite solo of No Refunds. He's got a couple pieces of gear that he's still missing. He's missing a Con 21 item. He's also missing his Insightful Force item, but he gets along okay. And what I've done with this fella is I've geared him up in such a way that he doesn't use any of the belts that we know are about to get nerfed, and doesn't use any of the mechanics that we know are about to get nerfed. So enough about that. We all know it's coming. There's been plenty said on other channels about it. This fella's got 3 cleric lives, he's got 3 favoured soul lives, he's got 3 sork lives, and he's got 3 wizard lives. He does take advantage of a couple items from the Feywild, in addition to his Dreadkeeper set bonus from the Soul, or Part 3 of Shan, I call it. And he seems to get along okay. I'm a bit of a miser with spell points, so I tend to use my cheap casts most of the time. But when push comes to shove, he starts to launch into the nuke spells and doesn't do too badly. He gets reasonable DCs for someone who's not a completionist, who doesn't have any racial past lives and doesn't have any epic past lives either. He's just got enough of the epic destinies filled out to get the usual suspects as far as your twists go. He runs in Archmage, just for the DCs, because primarily he is a DC caster. Once again, he doesn't have any Reaper points. I really haven't stepped into Reaper much. I've just started to do that a bit recently, and I'm kind of getting the hang of that on some of my other guys. My cleric's done a bit of Reaper, and my bard's done a bit of Reaper. A few of them have done half alright, and I've got a paladin coming up. We'd like to get a guild tank eventually so that we can start raiding again, even though we're only a small guild, the old Aussie relic. But we would like to get our faces into Project Nemesis and some of the other raids that have come along while we had a big break. We pretty much haven't done any raiding since Sit W came out, so there's a lot of stuff that we haven't had a look at. So yeah, I got a pally. He's coming up on his 2nd pally live. He'll do 3 pally lives, and then I'll start looking at tank builds for him and see what we can do with that. I'm sure we'll be able to put one together that will be reasonable, that we can at least get some completions and get our hands on some of these threads of fate. So yeah, he makes a lot of use of the colour spray, of course, like just about everyone else these days. He does a bit of webbing. He has quite a bit of success with his disco. He can still finger blokes out here on Epic Elite without much trouble. Whether that would be the case in Reaper or not, I don't know. But with some Reaper points and just those couple extra items I'm chasing, his DCs are all boosted up around getting close to the 110 marker, which isn't too shabby. He's not going to land every time, but he's going to land most of the time. I did take a feat there that may not be popular for a force attack, mainly because of steel golems and other creatures that are immune to negative and take quite a bit of a reduction in elemental damage. He's also got a couple of enhancements in the Eldritch Knight, just enough to get him his imbue. I think it's just the 1st level of imbue, maybe the 2nd. And enough to get him proficiency with the light armour so that he can raise his PRR a little bit. As you all know, you've got a PRR cap of 50 if you're in robes, and in the higher content these days, you really do need more MRR. You do need more MRR than that. So I've got his MRR up near 100 now, which is the cap for the light robes. I won't be giving him the filigree set that raises MMR by another 40 points. There's other better things he could grab. And he's got a reasonable amount of PRR as well. I alternate between the vampire form and the leech form. Leech when I'm straight casting, but if I'm going to be swinging a stick, he does have the Harper enhancements. So he can use his int to hit and damage with a top end great axe and do reasonable damage with an imbue, which is really handy in some situations. But that's the reason I took vampire, because you get that dominate effect, which is extremely handy. The more crowd control you've got, the better, in my opinion. The ability to freeze things in their place so that you're hewing away at helpless victims is indispensable in game. You just can't beat it. There's nothing funnier. So Lucy's been an old character that I resurrected recently. I had a 5-year break from the game, and I've spent the last year refreshing the builds on 6 of the characters that I used to run. I've discarded the rest of them. That's a lot of bank characters I've got now, and I need all of them for all the new loot. Not too much else to tell about this guy. If you want a full breakdown of how he's put together, or a gear breakdown, sing out. But he does use, I think it's a 2-piece bonus from Autumn, and he uses a 4-piece bonus from Winter from Feywild, in addition to his 3-piece Dread Keeper. And as I said, no past lives. No completionist, no ETRs, and no racials. He does have a racial tome, I think it's +2, so he does get 82 build points, and that let me just sneak in a couple of things from Eldritch Knight that I wanted, while keeping his Pale Master maxed. There's another good one in there where he automatically goes to a 50% damage shield whenever he gets underneath 50% hit points. That's really handy if you're not watching your health and you don't realise you're getting hit hard. You see that shield come up, and you know you want to be a little bit more careful. So this guy is trying to farm out a ring that will give my cleric Wisdom 21. I finally got my hands on a collective sight after what must have been nearly 300 runs in Blown Deadline. A little bit tired of that quest, to be honest. I've got 3 characters whose builds will be perfected with that item, so I'm really dreading picking up the other 2, but at least the cleric got that. And as I'm having trouble getting the cleric's artifact at the moment, I'll be using a substitute item. We were farming the end of Shan 1 for an item there that can be crafted to Wisdom 21 on a ring slot, which is where his artifact will be when he gets it. But it just didn't want to pop. I think we did something like 60 runs across 3 different sets, 3 different players, all running different sets of characters into Ransack, and it wouldn't pop. So now I'm going for the Wisdom 21 ring that drops in here, that's got a bit of insightful intimidate and insight on it. That'll do as a placeholder, which is why I'm farming this quest out at the moment. Well, I hope I haven't bored you all too much with the voiceover. I just wanted to say good day. People that used to raid about 8-9 years ago on Galanda probably would have heard my flight attendant run through on all the raids that I used to run for the Puggers. A shout out to any of those people that do remember me. Once we've got a couple of extra members in guild, I think we're near level 90 now. We've got all the trimmings on the boat, of course, and we might take a couple members in soon, and then we can, once we've got everybody geared up, start doing some raids. And as always, of course, I'll always be running pug raids. I'm not a real exclusionist guy, even though I do mainly solo. I'm not too worried about being the best of the best, and really never have been. And I work for a living these days, so there's only a limited amount of time that I can spend in game, of course. That's not such a bad thing. There's other hobbies. You probably would have seen the introduction to this video. Shows a couple of the other hobbies and things I've got burning. I've got a finger in a few pies, times at an absolute maximum. And yeah, you know, you just don't have time to live in the game, doing that 16 hours a day thing that you really need to do, or the exploits. And I hate exploiters, I hate exploits. I think it ruins the game, so I refuse to take part in any of that rubbish, which of course slows down the progress of all my guys. But man, the game is the journey, not the destination. It's a set of endlessly moving goalposts. So anyone who thinks they're there, well, no, you're never really there. As soon as the next expansion comes out or the next balance change comes out, you'll find the goalposts have moved yet again. So if you're not enjoying running the quests and you don't enjoy the classes that you play, I'm really not too sure why you'd be bothered. Kind of looking forward to the balance change. I'm wondering whether I'll be able to build a pure casting cleric again. That used to be a lot of fun when the cap was 20. I do have a cleric that I still run that uses Axel's two-handed fighter build. That's a hell of a build. I enjoy playing it quite a bit. I did play melee, favoured souls and clerics for quite some time, in addition to having another bloke who was a pure caster cleric who was also an awful lot of fun. But those guys have always been raid healers and solo characters, but as I said, I haven't raided for a long time, so we'll see what comes in the future. I did see some groups running Nemesis learning runs on what I think is American Saturday night on Galanda. Not sure who it was, I was kind of busy at the time, but I might be following up on that. I've watched a few videos and it looks like an interesting raid. I'd love to poke my head in there and get some threads of fate and some other fat loots. So yeah, you can see what this little bloke Lucy does for a crust. He's coming up to the end fight now. He'll boost up and just do the usual mana dump at the end. With the amount of negative amplification and negative spell power I've got on him, he pretty much refreshes his entire hit point pool on each tick. So very hard to kill. With the MRR and PRR I've got built into him, you can kind of set and forget. As long as you haven't forgotten to put your aura on, you can kind of concentrate on what you're doing and not worry too much about your health, which is really makes for relaxing play, easy farming, and when you're grouping up with people, you just become very self-sufficient. No one has to worry about you. Alright, so we're reaching the end of the video. I hope I haven't bored you all too much with the old Coit rubbish. I hope you all have a good one in game. Good luck with your loots. And I'll check you all later. If you like the video, you know what to do. And yeah, check out some of the music videos on the channel. It's all pretty cruddy stuff, but it's all completely original. I don't like covers. I play half a dozen instruments. Nothing's looped. Everything there, I actually play the instruments and do the singing and record the stuff and master it myself. So check it out, guys. All right. Catch you in game. Have a good one. Coit out.